Welcome to Sage Pastel Payroll's How to Set Up ETI video. Before you set up ETI, we highly advise that you reach out to your tax practitioner to better understand what ETI is, who can qualify for ETI, and how it's calculated. You can do some research regarding ETI on the SARS website. If you have any queries regarding qualifications or calculations of ETI, please reach out to your tax practitioner. Before continuing, please make sure that your company qualifies for ETI. If you are unsure, please reach out to your tax practitioner. Setting up ETI for the company profile. Navigate to Setup, Company Parameters. Click on the Statutory tab. You need to have a pay-as-you-earn reference number entered in order to set up ETI. Click on the Eligible to claim ETI checkbox. You can click on Registered for Employee Tax drop-down and select the relevant option. Employers and employees working in a special economic zone have different ETI rules. Before selecting a special economic zone, please reach out to your tax practitioner in order to make sure that you fall into one of these 6 zones. These are currently the only special economic zones that has special ETI rules. Once this is set up, you can click on OK to save. Setting up ETI for the employees. Remember to reach out to your tax practitioner if you're unsure of the qualification criteria of an employee. Navigate to the employee's master file. Check the employee's date of birth, as only employees between the ages of 18 and 30 of a non-special economic zone industry can calculate ETI. Only South African citizens, refugees that have been issued with a South African ID, and asylum seekers with an asylum seeker permit number will be able to calculate ETI. The only employee with only a passport number that will calculate ETI will be employees with the nature of person as asylum seeker. Employees with an ID number can either have a nature of person of an individual with an ID or passport, or a nature of person as a refugee. If you're unsure if your employee qualifies for ETI, please reach out to your tax practitioner. Navigate to the Statutory tab and select the ETI tab. Click on Employee Qualifies for ETI. The employment date will default to the start date that is set up to the master file. However, you have to ensure that the employment date is the employee's original start date. You can change this date if needed. Note that only employees with a start date after October 2013 will be able to calculate an ETI value. If this date is not correct, it might cause you to incorrectly claim ETI for this employee. It is important that you ascertain what your employee's industry's minimum rate is for the best possible ETI calculation. If you do not know what the wage regulatory measure is, you can keep this unchecked and the calculation will use a minimum amount of 2,000 Rand in your ETI calculation. If you know this employee's wage regulatory measure, you can check the checkbox and enter this industry's minimum rate per hour. This rate is an hourly rate. please only enter the minimum hourly rate for this industry. If you are unsure of your industry's minimum rate per hour, please reach out to your labour broker or tax practitioner. You will need to check your ETI records for this employee and ensure if applied second year ETI or completed ETI should be ticked. Note: the second year and completed ETI will not be checked by the system automatically. The system might give you an exception that tells you the ETI might be in your second year or has been completed, but it is the payroll administrator that should ensure that they keep track of the employee's ETI and the amount of claims that the company has claimed due to the employee's calculations. Please check if this employee matches either of the exclusion reasons and select an exclusion reason if applicable. As mentioned before, the employee can be added to a special economic zone if this is applicable to this specific employee. You can now add the amount of periods that has been claimed in previous tax years, and if the employee status is new, do an ETI take-on. If this employee status is new, you will be able to do an ETI take-on to record the ETI claim during this financial year. Once the employee status is no longer new, this button will be replaced by the ETI adjustment screen. The amount of periods that has been claimed in the previous tax years allows you to tell the system how many periods you have claimed for a previous tax year since this employee has started with your company. Refer back to your records and check how many periods you have claimed ETI for this employee for the previous tax year and select the value from the drop-down. The amount of claims you made in this tax year will be added to the ETI take-on, and this field should only show the amount of claims during the previous tax year or tax years. The ETI take-on button is only available if this employee status is new. When loading the ETI take-on, if you do not have the wage regulatory measure, do not tick this option. If you do have a wage regulatory measure, check the tick box and make sure that you're adding the minimum wage as an hourly value. Enter the taxable remuneration that was processed for this employee in the relevant month and the amount of hours worked. You won't be able to load more than 160 hours for a month. Then lastly, add the monthly amount that you claimed for them in that period. Once this is done, click on OK. For more ETI videos, check the links in the description box below. Thank you for watching our video. Reach out to us on our various self-help platforms.